simply put, I'm suggesting conscious travel means that we have to wake up, which means come conscious, awake and aware that we cannot continue business as normal. After this recession, it's going to be different, not the same. And the second thing I'm saying is tourism needs to grow up in the sense that it has gone. If tourism were a person, I would suggest that we're in the stage of adolescence. We want to be recognized, and if you listen to some of the leaders in tourism, they're always asking for the governments to recognize, the governments to give them more support, the ease of red tape, subsidies and so on. That's a plaintiff that occurs every year around World Tourism Day. But I think that's a sign that, to me, what we should be saying is what can we do to help? So if you quote JFK, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. I'm suggesting tourism as a sector be asking those kind of questions. And what that means is by growing up, you start to realize that you're as much responsible for solving some of the problems as just being looked after. And I just feel right now that conscious travel is about taking responsibility. In terms of how it will look, what will it look like? Well, we're suggesting that we're trying to get a debate at the grassroots level. It's community-based. We're not saying it's an organization or an association or any of the above. We're just trying to circulate ideas and get people thinking. So in that sense, it's a movement. In a second sense, in terms of practical steps forward, we're developing what I call a learning platform, a set of resources that are available online and offline for people involved in tourism, and our focus is on leaders in tourism, to become better informed and better equipped to develop the skills and techniques they need to operate in this new world and create this new vision. And then thirdly, it will be a community. It's based on the concept that it's up for every individual involved in tourism to do what they can. If we wait for the leaders of major global institutions to tell us what to do, we'll probably be waiting for quite some time. And no disrespect to their good efforts, but these large pyramid hierarchical organizations are not proving very effective as we go through this enormous change. In fact, they are going to be broken down in many respects in order for some new organizational structures to emerge. The second thing is really a focus on leadership. Now, it's not leadership for people who've got fancy titles and corner offices and nice business cards. It's about every individual becoming a leader. You don't need a title to be a leader. You need to have a vision, you need to have passion, you have to have determination. So what we're trying to do is create the conditions at the community level for leaders to emerge, solutions to emerge, innovation to happen. And that's a very different way of doing things than the old model. And that's really what it's all about. It's going from one model to another. So I do believe that in any community, because tourism people are in the connecting business, they're also in the healing business. They put people back together again when they come and see them. They could be actually quite potent agents of change. So that's one of the philosophies behind, or the vision behind conscious travel. How I got really thinking about this word conscious is that I was looking at research on how the consumer was changing after the recession. And there's a lot of research outside tourism saying that the recession was very much a sort of punctuation point. We'd had the 90s, a lot of mindless consumption, a lot of growth, and then the recession just actually was a wake-up call. People woke up and suddenly realized that this dream couldn't continue. And there were a lot of people of a certain age for whom this was normal. They hadn't been exposed to the downturns. I'm obviously of a generation where my parents went through the depression after the war and the dirty 30s and the deprivation during the World War II. So I heard from my parents how things could change. But my children hadn't necessarily experienced that. So for many it was suddenly, oh gosh, we can't live the way we did before, and we weren't really happy either. So the consumer has been changing. And what way? Well, first of all, instead of mindless consumption, it's mindful consumption. So they're starting to make more informed and deliberate choices about what they buy. They're turning the box, they're reading the ingredients on it, they're checking out the supplier they buy from. They have access to information at an unprecedented level, so they're highly informed. So they discriminate. And not all, but a growing number of people are starting to say, I have to make changes in my life. And I want to make changes in my life. So I want to slow down. I want to buy locally. I want to support my local community. And so all of this was going on outside of tourism, and what I tried to do was map that across to travel. And in travel, we're seeing a larger number of people that really want to engage when they go to a place. They don't just want to sit on the beach and do nothing. Now, it's probably only 30% of the total at the moment, but they do want to get to know the culture. They are concerned about the impact of their travel. They do want to buy from suppliers that are showing that they're being responsible. They do want to slow down. They do want to put something back. So we have this phenomenal rise in things like voluntourism. So that is the conscious traveller, and they're attractive for the number of reasons. First of all, they have the potential to spend more if they're engaged. We have the potential to slow them down and stay longer. They are less likely to, their impact will be less. And if we do a really, really good job of taking care of them and delighting them, then they will tell their friends and their peers. So they can become major advocates for us. And the only way tourism is going to get out of the commoditization trap is if it can start to attract, engage, and support this kind of traveller.